my colleagues, my name is Karimi Sunday Steve. I'm from Kogi State. Mr. President, I want to confess my sin today. Because this is holy month of Ramadan and at the same time of fasting. I'm one of those that put you in this problem. And I'm very sorry. When my sister came to the Senate, you were very reluctant, giving her a leadership position. I want to recall your word. You said she's a rookie. And there are people that came before her. Karimi, why would I give her chairmanship position? You said you wouldn't do that. That your conscience will not allow you to do that. I went to some leaders here to put pressure on you. Then finally, me and Senator Jubri came to you that position that Senator Ohere left is from Kogi State. And that you must give it back to Kogi State. I even went to old meeting with the husband to strategize on how she will be given that chairmanship of local content. And finally, you succumb. I'm very sorry, sir. When we gave seats here, the seat I allocated to her was where Senator Orwell is sitting. It caused problem here. Senator said she was the last person that came. Why would she sit in front of them? You had to lead the leaders here and corrected me.
Speaking to the microphone.
You led the leadership after sitting one day that Karimi, what are you doing? You want to divide this place because you want to favor your sister? That is not right. You have to reallocate the seat. In fact, when you still reallocated the seat, I still put that. Why? Just to, at least, make my sister comfortable here. Senate President, I want to recall what happened that day before the leadership came in. She was very unhappy. She shouted my name to the high heavens, abused me, abused my mother. For what? For simple change.
Abused your mother?
Sir?
Was your mother around?
Mr. President, it's very important you listen to me, my colleagues. Mr. President, my colleagues, I'm a Christian. And I know in the book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, the Bible says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Because of that, I did a private chat to her. I want to read it. Yes, for this purpose. Madam, why not take a part of peace? Apologize to the leadership and your colleagues and move on. One that seems your enemy today can still be your friend tomorrow. It is not even healthy to keep warning always. My sincere advice. I hope you are not offended. I also followed up. If at all you need my support in carrying out my suggestion, you can have my back. The Spirit of God is leading me to doing this. Please note that I have not discussed this with anyone. Do not interpret this to be anyone sending me to you. Your husband is our friend that will enjoy a valued relationship. with. And I owe him a lot to have decided on this move. God guide you aright. He who fights and run away may live to fight another day. Those advising you to keep fighting, most of them doesn't know what it takes to win an election to the Senate. You know your labor, the pain, the struggle to get where you are. You need a good relationship with your colleagues to get the best for your people. A little here, a little there, bending to people's opinion. A good politician will do all possible to move on. Note that we have not spoken for 6 months. So I've changed my mind and do what I'm doing tonight. Is the grace of God in me. This text was sent on 24th February 2025. She received it because I know some people also told me a reaction to this text, even in Singapore, where they were. Mr. President, just like Moses told God, the Lord told Moses at the mount of Horeb, you have stayed in this mountain for too long. We have stayed in this mountain for too long. Let us take Nigeria to the promised land. There are works to do for our people. We are not sent here because of all these intrigues and all this rubbish. We are sent here to work for our people. Let the decision of the committee, let it stand. Thank you.
I listened to distinguished Senator Natasha on Arise News. And I'm saying to all my distinguished colleagues, I had no regrets about what she said about me. She said I called her at exactly 13 minutes past 12. I had no regrets. And every one of you know it is characteristic of my own personal leadership role to try to reconcile everybody. I went to the Senate president, and I got there that night. And I said, sir, tomorrow in chamber, you will have to tender a public apology to distinguished Senator Natasha. I beg you in the name of God. Because her understanding of what you said is different from the way you are interpreting it. By saying she should not speak as if she was in a nightclub. And Mr. President, you explained again that what you meant was it's only in the nightclub that everybody speaks in loud voice, trying to raise their voice above the volume of the music. And I said, sir, I understand you. But tomorrow you need to explain that again to her and other Nigerian women and apologize to her. And you asked me a question, why is it that you are always coming to me to talk? You have not have you called Senator Natasha? Everybody is dragging me on the social media, her bloggers, including herself, saying I must go down. Have you called her? And I picked my call and called Senator Natasha, placing her on speakerphone. DSP was there, and 2 other of our colleagues. And I called. I didn't think 12 midnight was any time that we would not still be awake as senators. We go to bed 2 a.m., 3 a.m. People who are dragging us on social media should know that. And when I called distinguished Senator Natasha, the first thing I said was, distinguished, I am sorry. I hope I did not wake you up. She said, no, sir. I'm still busy. I'm still at work. You know, I can't be sleeping by this time. And I said, how is my brother? Referring to her husband. She said, he's fine and he's right here. And I said, I only called you to ask you a question. She said, what? I said, my dear sister, what would you gain? Because I'm reading everything your people are saying on social media. But what will you gain if the Senate president goes down? What do you stand to benefit? That was all the discussion. And as she was talking, she said, well, I didn't start this fight. As she was talking, my phone started saying reconnecting, meaning that network was failing. I cut it off and called back. As soon as she came back, Mr. President, you took over the discussion, believing that you were talking to a friend's wife who just said the husband was by her. And you said, Princess of the Senate, why are your people dragging me? And we discussed all of this. And at the end of the discussion, you spoke with the husband and reminded the husband or told the husband about a pending nomination that he was supposed to make for Delta State. And I thought that was the height of it, Mr. President. We were nominating people who will serve in the Public Complaints Commission. The husband is not the governor of Delta. He's not a senator from Delta. And I felt it was the height of respect that you could have for anybody, that you will ask the husband to submit the name of the nominee for Delta State for a 5-year tenure in public service. That was how we rounded up that discussion. But I listened to distinguished Senator Natasha on Arise. We rounded up that discussion. You came here the following day, you apologized, that rested the matter. But she recalled the matter last week on Arise and simply said, I called her at 13 minutes past 12, middle of the night, to threaten her. And I said, if SP must go down, you too must go down. I never said so. And I call on the DG, DSS, and all those, security agencies who have unrestricted access to telecommunication networks to please recall the record of the discussion that I held with distinguished Senator Natasha on my phone. So, and for me, if somebody says something that I know to be a blatant lie, it will be difficult for me to believe any other thing you say. So that's why when she proceeded later to say I was sexually harassed, Senate President took me around his house where his wife lives, where his children live, and was holding my hand with my husband following. And he told me, do you like this sitting room? If you like it, I'll bring you by there so that we can enjoy ourselves. There was no way I would believe all of that because...
So what year?
Yes.
What year?
What year? Did the discussion...
No, what year did she allege?
Sorry?
What year?
He said 2023.
2023. What year are we?
This is 2025. Well, sir, I clarified all I needed to clarify. I just wanted to say that, and Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I had said all of those things just for me to make this simple point. Just for me to make this simple point. This is the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are expected to be sober. We are expected to carry ourselves in a way that we will continue to reflect the importance and the sanctity of this chamber. And having said all of this, what I would just say to our colleagues is that I am totally in support of the recommendations by the committee, and I commend them for the good work they have done. And if in the wisdom of this committee, of this Senate, it is upheld that most distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan be so suspended, then my advice and appeal to her will be that she spends her period of suspension to read and learn our rules very well. So that when she comes back to the Senate, she would have come back as someone who understands this rule back to back. I thank you, Mr. President, and I thank all our colleagues for listening.
In the heart of the city where stories unfold, JJ Media TV shining bright and bold, bringing news from the corners of the globe, connects us together, no matter the road. Oh, just right.